We took Foton Candle from $24,000 a month to literally $4 million a month. That is a huge increase. Heidi with Foton Candle came to me at the very early stages in her business, and she knew that she was destined for more. She knew she had a great product, she knew that people loved it, but she wanted to figure out a way to get it to the masses. At that time, Heidi was focusing on selling single SKUs for her candle business. And she had a very unique creative idea with her candles, where instead of it being wax, it was beaded candles. So that way the wick was sitting there, and if a cat was to knock over this candle, the fire would go out immediately. It was a much safer alternative. The scents were a lot better, and you could actually customize candles in any style of jar you wanted to, which was very creative. And she knew that it had potential to scale, but she didn't know the roadmap to get there. So when Heidi started working with us, over the course of 2 years, we were able to take her from $24K a month to $4 million a month. That is a 166x return on the revenue growth, which is incredible. And that doesn't happen to every Shopify business. But when you follow the systems, implement them, and execute on the guidance and allow the scale to happen, and your backend can support it, and you're ambitious along scaling up your supply chain as you can grow, amazing things can happen. We ended up launching thousands of meta ads over this period, and she and her sister started this brand. And as you can see, this is a photo from one of the days where they were shipping out a ton of products, and they were totally overwhelmed just by the sheer amount of volume. They literally had done $125,000 in a single day, and she wasn't even previously doing those in past months, and now that's a daily sales number, which was crazy to them, and their team was totally stacked with shipping out a ton of products. Here's the candle right here. It's called Foton Candles, and you can see how the beaded candle works. You can put it in pretty much anything you can think of, and they had the innovative product idea. They knew it was trapped by single unit economics though. That was one of the first things that we noticed, was pushing single candles at scale was going to become a problem later down the line, especially if you're talking in terms of $4 million months. But we knew this had viral potential because the moment we started working with her, we went through organic viral strategies for how she can adjust her messaging to basically call out exactly what the product does. When you have an innovative product idea, there's a lot of messaging that goes into how you educate the market. Not everybody knows how the candle works or what its purpose is or what the benefits are. It's safer, it has better scents. There's a lot more customizability with it. And one of the things that can become very popular is, well, this is great for weddings because you can do bulk buys with this stuff. You can do events, you can do parties. And that is something that we started to lead with, so that way we can maximize bulk orders. And she had a low average order value. And we went from, just focusing on single candles to dominating with bundles, bulk buys, where weddings and events and parties would come in and buy a ton of these candles to literally have them at their events. And so that alone was a huge increase, because now we were selling to a market that had a lot more money, and there was a lot more scalability here. And a lot of times people don't have those ideas or can think that far ahead, or understand that there's different avenues for reaching different customer bases and different audiences for scale. And they weren't maximizing their funnel monetization with upsells, cross-sells, bundles. There was a lot of touch points being missed with email, SMS, automations, recovery sequences, and really controlling the narrative around all the ways that this candle can be used. And the website wasn't fully optimized either for high value purchases. So whenever we were launching hundreds of meta ads, we wanted to adjust the offers and direct people down a flow where they would end up spending, a lot more money and buying a lot of candles for their home, because it's a safer alternative. You should have, if you're a candle person, you have a lot of candles, you should be replacing all your candles with this. And there was no scaling system or infrastructure. They didn't have a weekly cadence for creatives. They didn't know what formats to launch. We designed an entire system around every creative format that you can think of. And we showed them exactly what those look like and what videos needed to be placed. And a lot of times the videos that went on organic would end up doing 7 million, 1 million, 10 million. And we did over 30 million views one month with this brand just organically, which drove a ton of traffic and sales to the website. So we knew the virality aspect was there, and we harnessed that energy, played it into meta so that way we could scale even further. And along with that, with an immense view volume and all of the retargeting audiences and re-engagers we could do, we were building the top of funnel very quickly. And so we aligned the funnel to liquidate at a very high return on ad spend and a very high AOV. And we didn't just start with ads. We were fixing all of those things we were just mentioning, monetizing this every step of the funnel, We were going over gifts, refills, candles with kits. These are things that we could do is let's design a kit. Let's do this bundle. Let's have people repurchase, get on subscription. If they need to refill, here's how that process works. So that way more and more people would end up spending more and more money on the website because people love the product. And so that allowed us to shift to bulk. And we even were able to look at the structure and say, hey, we need to offer bigger sizes first. So that way that's the first thing people see versus the smaller sizes. And these are things that guide the customer to allow us to scale AOVs, which gave us a significant lift in ROAS because we know as we scale, we can hold those metrics. And that's where we started launching thousands of meta ads. If you're going to go to $4 million months, it's going to require a very hefty spend and budget. And to be able to do that, Meta requires an enormous amount of creatives. And not just any creative. I mean, we're talking about very specific formats, covering education layers, covering, the middle of funnel where we're building trust and showing people how to use it, giving them ideas, gifting. So that way we could be in the right place at the right time when somebody would need to buy this. And getting people to think about it in advance for when they did want to buy later down the line. And home decor enthusiasts, wedding planners, event decorators, gift shoppers, candle collectors all started reaching out and spending a lot more money because of this constant creative volume and messaging that we were leading with. And this is where they were able to go beyond just paid ads and crush it on TikTok and scale across multi-channel, where they were doing 125K in a single day, 30 million plus organic views, maintaining a very solid ROAS. And as you can see here, this specific image was on Black Friday, where they absolutely crushed it and were able to do more sales in a single day than they had done in the entire month. And later, that following year, we would go on to do over $4 million in a single month. So there was a lot of growth to be had. And you can see the breakdown of just how the purchases were ramping up week over week. And some of the things that we were doing on the website and the tons of different video formats, UGC videos, product breakdowns, ideas, reviews, showing people how it works. We covered every combination that you could possibly think of, allowing us to go from 24K a month to literally $4 million a month, covering their offer, their funnel, their audience, their creatives at scale. And this combination allowed us to bring the economics out of the business and be able to lead with bulk offer strategies that could take this business from $24,000 a month to $4 million a month. And during that time period with us in the consulting, we were building it up month over month for many months on end. And then eventually this brand wanted to launch, Google wanted to launch additional multi-channel. And that's where we had our agency come in and start to take over additional channels to be able to rapidly scale this business even further. And this is a review with Heidi herself, where we were talking about just some of the growth and scale. And she said between aggressive scaling of meta ads, plus SMS going out late last night, yesterday was the best day of the year so far for us in terms of both sales and profitability. And we were getting messages like this on a regular basis. And she said the team is extra busy packaging orders, and that's a great problem. So many times brands will come to us, and one of the biggest problems that they face is just keeping up with the supply, because once you start to unlock these avenues and increase these percentages on AOV, conversion rate, return on ad spend, your funnel becomes a lot more thick and a lot more volume begins to come through even with less spend. So keeping up with orders can become very challenging. If you're a brand that's looking to rapidly scale and you don't understand every avenue or haven't thought of all of the things you need to do with your website or how to increase your AOV or what makes a good conversion rate or what creative formats or what needs to happen on TikTok Shop or how to go viral, these are things that we walk you through and show you at every stage. And as you need more channels, we guide you in that direction for whenever that needs to take place for rapid scaling of the brand. And as long as you have the supply chain to support it, then, scaling can become very easy whenever you have both systems aligned with each other. So if that sounds like something you're interested in and you want to be able to scale your brand just like Heidi did, then I highly recommend reaching out to us by clicking the link below to apply, and we'll walk you through everything you need to know and handhold throughout this entire process, hopping on calls with you, executing with you, and getting down in the trenches to literally scale this thing as far as it can go. So if you're interested in that, click the link below and book a call with myself and team, and I look forward to speaking with you very soon.